Well, good morning, Chelsey.
Good morning, Ari.
Well, that's Chelsey Alvarez with Laban Homes. Ari, a.k.a. Ariel Limas with Loan Depot. We're just here today. We want to have a little bit of a conversation on kind of what the market's doing, kind of what, Chelsey does, what I do, what we offer services, and how we kind of differentiate ourselves, which is pretty awesome because there's a lot of agents out there. There's a lot of people that at least have their license,
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean that you're actually working. You know that. There's some agents that aren't working. But you yourself, I know that you're a hard worker because you always call me too much, which is good. Which is a good thing. No, that means you're always busy, which means I'm busy.
Thank you. I saw this meme. It said, if you're not looking at your phone or you're not on your phone, then you're making no money.
That's true. That's true, though, because, that's where we're getting our business now.
Mm-hmm.
You can do everything on your phone. Email, text, calls. You can do Skypes, Zooms, all that good stuff. And I don't have an iPhone, so I can't FaceTime. Which not yet.
Well, you can Google Duo.
Yeah, I could do all that stuff, but
Yeah.
it's right there in your hand, so that does make sense. So let me ask you a question. Let's say that I'm a client. Why would I want to work with you?
Because my name is Chelsey.
Yep.
No, honestly, I say me because I'm local, and
Mhm.
I understand the local market and I understand the local people. And just for me, I think having my background of my knowledge of home ownership and then in the real estate side as well,
Mm-hmm.
and then just try to push that, not push it, I'm sorry, but trying to educate people that, it's not hard. You just have to have the right team behind what you're trying to do.
Yep.
And you have to have the right goals. If home ownership is not a part of your goals, then it's not going to work out. If you're forced to buy a home, it's something you have to want and it's something you have to work on. But as for me, I feel like I can touch people in that way into helping them understand
Yeah.
how to reach that goal of home ownership,
Right.
And also, like you said, I talk a lot. I call my clients all the time to
Yes.
let them know what's happening.
Which is great.
Recently, our client, the one that we're working with, she told me, she's like, I appreciate you calling me even if there's nothing going on in the week, just to know that I know what's going on. So
That's great.
just having to keep your clients updated, it's super important because if they know that your client's friends know that they're trying to buy a home and their friends are like, hey, so what's going on with your home? And if they don't know, that just goes to show how much communication
Right.
you're giving to your clients.
Yeah, I think that's super important just because in the aspect of transparency, right? Because sometimes in business, it's sometimes good news, no news is good news, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's good here,
Mm-hmm.
because the client wants to know what's going on.
Yeah.
This is one of the biggest financial decisions they're ever going to make in their life. And if they don't work with someone that they trust and they know and they feel comfortable with, then it's going to be an issue and they're going to hate their experience. They're not going to tell people.
Absolutely. I agree.
Because it's like when you tell that one client, when that one client tells 10 people that you did a good job, look good on the other side. If you did a bad job, they're also going to tell 10 people too. You know what I mean? So in that, they'll tell 10 people, and then next minute, oh, don't work with Chelsey. Don't work with Ari. Yeah, she over communicates, and I'm not a communicator.
I think I'm an over communicator because my first experience wasn't the greatest. I was pregnant and I didn't know what the hell was going on, what was what. I remember even the home inspection. Now that I'm an agent and I go to these home inspections, I don't remember my agent being there for me, and if you're a first-time home buyer and you're, your client and you have that, like you said, that trust, that relationship, that bond. So if they don't even know this home inspector, they're not going to feel comfortable asking the home inspector, questions, because I see that during the home inspection, our home inspector is explaining, what's going on, the issues, repairs, or whatnot. And instead of the clients looking at him asking the questions, they'll look at me and be like, oh, what does he mean,
Yeah.
And just to have that, that extra, you know, person being there to help guide
Yeah.
them that way. It's really important, and you really do need to have somebody that's in it for you.
Yeah, I think that's super important. It's just also I just think the way we work in terms of how we treat our clients is we're like we want to be friends with them essentially. You know, you want to build this relationship, a lasting relationship, because that can build your referral network.
Yes. Speaking of that, our closing, one of our closings, at the end of closing, she sent me this text message, and that's what her words was that she's grateful for my services, and that, you know, she's really grateful for the relationship and the friendship, the lifelong friendship that we have together. I'm going to tell you, if I didn't, you know, cry when I read the text.
The thing is, I was telling someone the other day that the clients, when we go to their key days, it's like, oh, you better bring your tissues.
Yeah.
Because it's a real moment, and we're going to be a part of their lives forever.
Yes.
Think about that. Think about that impact and how you can turn that into a business. You know, not saying like, you know, take advantage of that, but
Right.
that's your business of connecting with people. And I think so I came from a hospitality background, right? I was a server, you know, I was a waiter. And I still think I'm in the service industry because I'm serving my clients.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think about it differently because I always have that different sense of communication because I used to be an agent. So I understand like your language and I can interpret my language to your language in terms of, you know, real estate and the loan side of things. And I can then turn it into that language for the clients. So it's awesome just to kind of be in that service industry and continue serving people and just have a different approach. I'm not just the numbers guy.
And I think
You can call me, you know.
And I think that's why we make such a good team.
Yes, awesome.
Because we truly care for our clients, like you said, serving people. And same thing, you know, previous I was, you know, in the hotel industry. So that's customer service too.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
You know, you always having to feel like, you know, catering to the clients, and not just because it's your job, but it's like, for me, that's like, I remember like I would enjoy getting angry clients, because that was my goal, to make sure you leave me smiling.
That's awesome.
And that would be my thing. I would be like, he was mad at you, but he laughed with me.
No, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy that, you know, that you know, that what do you call that? That challenge, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I always feel like I have to go above and beyond, because it's a really rewarding feeling to see my clients.
Yes,
like
100%.
that. And like I said, you know, like the text messages that I get is just,
They're awesome.
they really do hit you differently.
Excellent.
And I don't share them on social media because they're my friends.
Exactly.
I'm gonna hold it.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's all. I mean, that's why I love to work with you guys. You know, talking with Tawa, who's basically the big man over there, the big boss who's going to get too famous for us.
I know.
Shout out to Tawa.
Don't leave us.
Yeah.
Even him, I forget what we were talking about one day, but I just told him, like, I'm grateful for him and Tiana, you know, Tawa and Tiana, for just providing the that real mentorship that they offer to, you know, to me, because it really shows that, you know, it's not about the money. It's really about the service you provide. And I honestly feel that if I was to be under anybody else, I don't know if, you know, I don't know if everybody practices that, what Tao and Tiana teach. So I'm grateful to be under them, because it aligns with how I feel and how I want to serve my clients. And they teach that, you know, and so I'm just grateful for them.
Yeah, I mean, I love working with them, and you know that.
Yep, and then I got to meet you.
Yep. That was...
Whoop-de-whoop.
You didn't have to do that in the mic. No, I honestly, like I said, we kind of align our goals. I was talking to Tawa, you know, as I talk to you a lot, and how we want to align our goals in terms of business and everything. And I know that here in Hawaii, it's a different market from the mainland, right? And in itself, the island has its own markets. You have like the military market, you have the luxury market, then you have the local market, then you have the blend of some of them where they're like military and they're local, which we've dealt with some of that too, which is people have lived on the island for 50 years and never used their VA loan because they didn't know, and they're like, I don't have any money to put down. I'm like, guess what? You don't have to. You have a VA loan. They're like, really? I didn't know that. And that I didn't know that is the thing that I want to stop people.
Yes.
You know, I don't want to hear that anymore. I want to say, oh, I do know that. And they tell their friends, I can use my VA loan multiple times. You can put down as little as 3% in a conventional loan.
Yeah, because some people, they don't know that. It's funny. I mean, not funny, but it's weird that people still think you have to put like 20 to 30% down on a home. And it's like, where did you see that at?
It's always, well, I mean, it's what their parents are told, what they heard from somebody 15 years ago.
Yeah, that's
you know?
yeah, that's true. 15 years ago.
Because when whoever they knew bought for the first time was probably 10, 15 years ago. And then that was still, honestly, the things have changed. You know, FHA, you did an FHA loan, right? Was that you?
No.
Oh, I thought you did an FHA loan. Somebody did an FHA loan there for their first time, and that's 3.5%.
No, so my first loan was a USDA loan.
USDA. Okay, so that's another product that people don't know about.
And it's great for the local people to really know about it because it's another zero down.
Yep.
And, you know, me and my family was able to qualify for that. And I wasn't. And for me, like, that's my thing is, like, my husband was the only working income. A lot of local families it's like that, you know.
Yeah.
And the husband is working, mom stays home with the kids, you know. And they think, oh, no, I can't afford a home. But how do you know that, you know?
Exactly, until you talk to somebody.
Yeah, and that's where it comes into play for us, your team. You have to make sure you have a team. Our very first closing, Danelle, my sister-in-law,
Yep.
she actually went to another loan officer. She had something in collections, and they told her, oh, you can't buy. But what happened, Ari?
We got her in the house.
That's right.
There's always a plan. So there's two types of people. I think there's people that look at something and say they can't do it, and then there's people like you. You said, here's my challenge.
Yes.
Like, let's get this person into a home. They want to get into a home. Let's help them. Might not be today, might not be tomorrow, might be 6 months down the road, might be a year, but the ultimate goal is to get you in a home. And if you're willing to do the work, is what I always tell everybody. I will give you the tools. I will give you the path. I will give you all the directions, what to do, where to turn. But if you don't want to do it, if you don't put in the energy and the time, then you won't achieve your goals. Sometimes it takes a little harder work to do than just saying, okay, I have money, let's buy a house. You know, sometimes there's things on your credit, or there's small things you have to take care of, or there's bigger things. But essentially, we want to have a plan, right?
Yeah, and I think that plan is super crucial to anything, home buying, dieting.
I'm not good at that.
But you have to have a plan. If you have no plan, you know, and I think a lot of people think like, oh, I need, you know, all this. They have to take big steps, you know, but they don't realize that it's the little steps that you take to get to that next big step. It all comes into play. It all counts. And you have to map out your plan.
Yeah.
You have to have great guidance.
Yeah.
Which is what I always amp about you about. Ari's the man.
Thank you. I mean, I love working with you guys, like I said. So it works. It's not work with you guys, to be honest. I love it.
Yeah.
You know, there's always stuff. We're always laughing. You know, I call you and
that's why my husband around. Doesn't believe that. He's like, "What are you guys gonna do today?" Oh, we're gonna work. Don't worry about it. But he hears us on our phone calls.
But we're working, but we're working like happily. You know.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Like, if you don't like your job,
yes, then that's
it's not gonna be good. And then you don't want to pass that on to your clients.
Yeah, and I think, you know what, yeah, exactly like you said. I think just you saying it and me hearing it just hit. Like, you know, you're absolutely right. You have to enjoy and love doing what you're doing, because that is how you're able to provide the best you.
Yeah.
To serve.
Yeah. Jeff was asking me if I knew anybody that wanted to do like a testimonial. I was like, I can choose basically anybody that we worked with, because they were so grateful, and it was an emotional thing, which we were, again, I always say this, like, we're going to be a part of their lives forever.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Think about that. You know, you see it, you know, maybe you don't see them every day, but they're like, oh, they're in their house, and like maybe they're sitting on their couch, and they like sit back for a second. They're like, wow, we're in a house. And then we pop in their heads, you know? Yeah. And that's how you build your business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just continue to do a good job. And it can't be hard sometimes, you know, but just how you approach it.
Yeah, but what is that quote that they say? Nothing easy coming, or
Nothing in life is easy.
whatever, it's worth it,
I
or
don't know,
whatever.
Quotes by Chelsey. Motivational quotes by Chelsey. Whatever, just do work hard.
Just
and
do it, Nike.
I don't think we can use that. Can you edit that out, Alfredo?
Why?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Well, baby.
really had me thinking. That's why I love working with you. Just throw things out there and got me all confused.
No, that's okay.
No.
But I again, you got to differentiate yourself.
Yeah,
And,
and you really have to have somebody that really wants it for you. And I really do believe home ownership is really for everybody. If you
Yeah.
don't own a home, why not? Why don't you? What's stopping you?
Mhm.
Or how can I get you to be there? Because, like I said, if you think about it, a regular mortgage term loan is 30 years.
Mhm.
So right now, let's just say we're all in our young 30s. In 30 years, if we were to be renters, how old will we be?
Yeah.
And to be 60 something and to have to still work and pay rent that is still increasing,
Rent always increases. Remember that.
Yeah, and what did that do for you? And then where are you going to go with that? And then again, with the loans, utilizing the loans if something was to happen, like pulling out what is that called, a HELOC loan or something, if you needed time or something, like there's so much that you can do with your home, the equity, the appreciation that you just don't know about, but you have to get yourself educated and you have to put yourself in front of people that know it.
Yeah. So I went back home this weekend and I saw a lot of my family I hadn't seen in a while. And my younger cousins, they're awesome. Love them. They're great kids. And they're asking me, one's 21 and the other one's, I think he's 23. Sorry if I don't know your ages, guys. But they're young. And they were coming up to me because they're like, oh, I saw your podcast.
Oh, cool.
And they were like, how do I get into this, into this business? Or my other cousin was like, I want to buy a home. And then I was talking to his father, and he's like, yeah, I want to help him get into a home by 25.
Mm-hmm.
I wish somebody helped me with that,
Yeah.
I was
Right.
21. I was maxing out credit cards and street racing.
Oh, gangster.
I was like in my 20s. But it was so awesome to have them ask me those questions about financial literacy, which I didn't know anything about growing up
Right, yeah.
because no one taught me,
Yeah, I agree. I think I love when people ask me questions, like about home, owning a home or, loans or what should I do? What route should I take? Then I'm like, okay, so are you ready?
Yeah, I know. Do you have an hour and a half?
Because I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
Once you mention it, But like I said, I'm just really big for people owning a home, especially local people. I mean, everybody.
Right.
But being here local, my dad didn't own a home. The house that we lived in foreclosed when we were little,
Wow.
ways on how to save a foreclosed home or, different, not really save, but your ways. Because some people, they're like, it's foreclosed, let's just lose it. But there's ways to still get, something out of it,
Yeah.
if you connect to the right people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think home ownership growing up, it wasn't something I really saw,
Yeah.
I didn't understand it. I didn't know it. And it wasn't until, I really got my first home. And then that's when I started looking at things so different, and just wanting to help out people to understand that it's just really big for me. It really is.
Yeah.
Um,
Generational wealth
yes.
is so I was home and my grandparents are 91 and 92.
Oh, wow.
And I'm sitting there in their kitchen in their house.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I never asked them this question. I was like, why Boston? And they're like, well, and they told me the whole story about why they came here. So my uncles came over, my grandfather started working, and then he worked for some company that had a government contract. So he showed the contract to, had to go back to Colombia and then show the contract. He got his papers and then brought everybody over. He worked for 10 years and bought a house for $35,000, I think it was, something like that.
Oh, wow.
That house is worth like 1 point something.
That's it.
And I'm like sitting in this house, and it's just the two of them now, three of them. My uncle's in there too, but it's a huge house.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandmother's so stubborn; she just doesn't want to leave it.
Well, I wouldn't want
But
it
just-
either.
But she's just, it's crazy to me that, that house, and the way my grandfather kind of worked, and the work ethic grew my whole family into me being here in Hawaii. You know, it's just crazy to think that way. Just if the generational wealth that keeps getting built off that house, and then, you know, again, not everybody knew how to be, you know, deal with their money, but we all do. You just work hard, and then I guess you save. But then now I tell my younger brother and my little cousins, like, okay, do your credit with this. You know, you can build your credit, build equity, you know, but do all these things, and they're like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, and I think some people, they're like, they don't realize that it needs time. You know, you need to have time. Like you said, $35,000. That's what they purchased it. Now it's worth, you know, over $1 million.
Yeah.
That time, you know, even time is going to pass no matter what, you know. So you have to think, where do you want to be? Sitting, letting time pass renting, or sitting, letting time pass owning? So that's a big, huge equity.
It is, you know. It's just.
Do they know that I'm their granddaughter too?
Actually, you're not I have two Chelseas. You're Chelsey, my girlfriend, and Chelsey, you. They won't know. No.
They won't know.
But no, I mean, I'm glad we got to talk about everything today and get to know a little bit about why you do it and how you do it. And I think it's pretty awesome. And I can't wait for what the rest of the year has for us. We're starting off pretty good, so we continue everything. And, you know, it was a pleasure talking to you today. And
thank you, Ari.
All right. Thanks, guys.